What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are gonna do my World Cup 2026 predictions. As you may know, about 2 days ago the World Cup qualifiers wrapped up, which means that all 48 teams of the World Cup have been decided, which means we could finally do these tournament predictor things that Telegraph posts out. Now, as you may know, I may have mentioned it a couple times in my past videos. Also, like you've probably seen me wearing football jerseys a lot. I am a big football fan, and with every major tournament there is, I usually do one of these prediction thingies. This time around, I want to share that with you guys. Hopefully, drop some of my ball knowledge on y'all. So, yeah. Also, another thing, I'm in the process of making two other videos while creating this video. So I don't know when exactly this video will come out. I predict it's gonna be like lighter on editing, so it might be the first video you see after like a long hiatus of not uploading. I've been in college. I'm a college student. Life is busy, so yeah, just making this claim out there because there are three videos in the making at once. So, all right, enough BS. Let's get into the predictions. Yo, the moment I try to record this video, the computer breaks. So yeah, you're seeing me in a new fit, new everything. Enough time wasted. Let's hop right into these predictions. All right, 2026 World Cup predictions. Here we go. As I could already see, telegraph.co.uk has already analyzed some of these groups. They put a label for the groups they deemed weak and the groups they deemed strong. Obviously, to start off, we'll start with Group A: Mexico, South Korea, South Africa, and the Czech Republic. Mexico and South Africa in the opening game. Flashback to 2010. It's Shabalala's goal. Goal Bafana Bafana. Goal for South Africa. Goal for all Africa. In my opinion, this group is one of the more balanced groups within the World Cup. It really could go any way. So it's actually a pretty hard group to predict. Nonetheless, for my prediction, I will go with Mexico to top the group. Now, I know Mexico isn't the Mexico of the 2010s. In recent years, they have fallen off a bit, but I mean, even more recently with the international friendlies, they look like a solid team. On top of that, with home field advantage, I think they have what it takes to top the group. To follow them, originally I was going to say South Korea, but they weren't looking too good with the pre-World Cup friendlies. I know they don't mean that much, but just based on recent form, I will put Czech Republic next, and then South Korea at third. And unfortunately, in my opinion, Bafana Bafana do go out this World Cup. Once again, very balanced group. It could go any way. I could see any of these teams really being first, second. Any arrangement of this team would make sense in my opinion. So, yeah. All right, on to Group B, aka what some deem to be the group of a life, especially after Bosnia beat Italy and the Azzurri choked for the third straight World Cup, meaning that's 12 years without Italy in a World Cup. Kind of funny, but if you are Italian, I know it's tragic, it's unfortunate. But anyways, in my opinion, this is a somewhat easy group to predict. I see Switzerland easily topping the group. I mean, their whole national team is on an upwards trend. They've had really good finishes the last two Euros, and I mean, compared to the rest of this group, I think they have the superior squad. To follow them, I would say Canada takes the second spot. They do have a pretty good squad, especially within this group. And with the home advantage, I do see them easily taking the number two spot and advancing, which leaves Bosnia and Qatar. And even then, pretty easy decision for me. I take Bosnia number third. Qatar will go out because Qatar is Qatar. I mean, high key, half of the Qatari squad ain't even Qatari. A pretty controversial team as well. And I'm sorry if you're a Qatari, but I just don't see you guys going that far in the tournament. All right, now on to Group C: Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, Haiti. Flashback to World Cup 1998 for those who remember. Um, Honestly, I would say this would be a pretty easy group to predict, but with Brazil in its most recent form, it's low key a toss up between Morocco and Brazil for the number one and number two spot. Um, I mean, I don't know if Neymar is going to be in the squad. That's still like a whole thing that's undecided as of now. But even with that considered, in my opinion, I will go with the standard Brazil number one, Morocco number two. Morocco looking solid as ever. Uh, AFCON something. It's a controversy. Like, Morocco is sort of like appealed their way to the title, so that's the whole thing. But they do have a good squad, and I do see them being top two. I think these two places are pretty easy to predict. And after that is Scotland and Haiti. Haiti, I mean, they haven't been here since 1974. Additionally, the only experience I have with the Haitian national team is the one time they played in Copa 2016 and they low key got thrashed. So I mean, they could pull something against Scotland, but you know, in my opinion, they're like pretty easily last. And yeah, I think this group looks pretty good. All right, now on to Group D, aka the group with none other than the US of A. Once again, in my opinion, this is a pretty balanced group. And once again, I think it could go any way. But in my opinion, I will put Turkey at number one. They do have their golden generation: Kenan Yildiz, Arda Güler, Kalhanoglu, etc. I do think they have what it takes to pull off the number one finish and maybe even pull off a 2002 again. Who knows? And to follow them, I will put my own team, my home team, none other than the US of A at number two. Now, I know that the USA recently has been tossing in the international friendlies, but I mean, once again, it is their World Cup. They do have the home turf advantage. And high key, it was the same narrative back in the 2022 World Cup. We were looking like shit under Greg Berhalter, but we managed to pull through when it really mattered and make the playoffs. Something similar to that might happen this World Cup. So yeah, I do put USA at number two. Follow them. I will put Paraguay, led by Miggy Almiron, at third, which means unfortunately the land down under will go home, in my opinion. All right, now on to Group E: Germany, Ecuador, Cote d'Ivoire, and Curacao, with a population of about 100K. Really impressive that they made it to the World Cup, but in terms of predictions, I do see them solidly clinching last. I just don't see them even getting a point against the other teams in this group. And honestly, I think they'd be lucky to even get a goal in the World Cup in of itself. With that being said, in terms of standings, I do see Germany clearing. I think that they have a solid squad, a solid enough squad, so that something like 2018 or 2022, when they exited in the group stage, I don't think that will happen again this time around. To follow them, I will put the Ivory Coast and Ecuador at 2 and 3, respectively. However, this is how I see things play out. I see Ivory Coast and Ecuador tying, both of them losing to Germany and both of them beating Curacao, which means Ivory Coast and Ecuador, I think they'll be separated based on goal difference, which means whoever gets second is really dependent upon whoever scores more goals against Curacao and whoever loses less against Germany. So yeah, that's the way I see Group E play out. I think the biggest toss-up here is Ivory Coast and Ecuador once again. Now on to Group F: Netherlands, Japan, Tunisia, and Sweden. Japan looking good AF. their national team on the rise, beating England. And I think this time around, my Asian brothers have what it takes to top the group, replicate what they did in 2022 with Germany and Spain, and beat out the Netherlands. Obviously, I do think that the Netherlands will follow them at number two. Between Sweden and Tunisia, I think Sweden takes the cake. I mean, Sweden with Gyökeres and Langa and Isak, I just think they have too much star power for Tunisia to handle. Now, the only toss ups I really see in this group is between the Netherlands and Japan. Netherlands can obviously take number two, and Japan, or the Netherlands can obviously take number one, with Japan taking number two. But Japan might choke and they might fall to number three, and Sweden might take number two. But yeah, the way I see things right now, I think this is how Group F will turn out. All right, now on to Group G, aka what some people call the second group of life. Here we have Belgium, Iran, Egypt, and New Zealand. And as you can see, I already put my picks in. It's because I can't put the teams back in its original spot. And I'm not trying to clear cookies and redo the whole thing. So, to explain my picks, I think Belgium easily gets the number one spot here. They by far have the superior squad within this group. But to follow them, I will give Egypt the number two spot, led by none other than Mo Salah, Egyptian king, a little bit past his prime, but I do think he has what it takes to get Egypt a solid number two spot. To follow them, Iran, and that means that unfortunately the All Blacks, the Kiwis, do go out, and I do have New Zealand going out simply on an experience basis. New Zealand, within this group, have the least experience. The last time they were in the World Cup was in 2010, whereas Egypt was here in 2018 and Iran was here in 2022. Now, the thing with Iran, it's questionable that they even participate in the World Cup because with all that's going on in Iran right now, that is another reason why I think Egypt has the upper edge over them. But, could go either way between Iran and Egypt, honestly. But the way I see things, this is how Group G will play out. All right, now on to Group H: España, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, and Cabo Verde. Now, for me, I see a pretty clear divide here. Spain and Uruguay are obviously competing for the number one and number two spots, whereas Saudi Arabia and Cabo Verde are really competing to get that number three potential qualifying spot. The way I see things, I see Spain easily topping the group. They do have their golden generation with Lamine Yamal. They are the European Championship winners. So I see them getting the dub against Uruguay and getting 9 points really in this group. Uruguay will get the dubs against Saudi Arabia and Cabo Verde. So it's really between Cabo Verde and Saudi Arabia. And between the two, I will give Cabo Verde the win. I mean, they could tie. The game could go either way, but I think Cabo Verde have what it takes to potentially beat Saudi Arabia and secure that number three spot. All right, hopefully I was pronouncing Cabo Verde correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. So now we have what some call is the group of death. Group I: France, Senegal, Norway, and Iraq. But man, France really pulled up to this World Cup with the Avengers assembled. I mean, if I'm Iraq in this case, I'm just praying, bro. Like, holy shit. That being said, with the Avengers assembled, I think France easily gets number one. I think they'll get all 9 points, but they may tie Norway or Senegal. Who knows? To follow them, I will put Norway. Yes, they are lacking the World Cup experience. They haven't been here since 1998. But with a team of Holland, Odegaard, and the Bodo Glimt dark horses, I think they have what it takes to beat Senegal and get the number two spot. But once again, I think it also may come down to goal difference with Senegal. They might tie each other. The group can play out in many ways. To follow them, I have Senegal at number three. And unfortunately, that means that Iraq will be going out. Once again, just simply from an experience standpoint, they haven't been here since 1986. And just additionally, like, they just don't have that much star power in the squad, whereas every single one of the other teams have a star or several stars in their team that could see them go through in this group. Now on to Group J, which I like to call the alphabet group because there's three teams that begin with the letter A. Now I don't know if Austria and Algeria. I don't think they are in FC 26. But how I imagine it is you go into a quick match and you go into like the international section and you just see Algeria, Argentina, Austria when you flick the right stick. That's exactly what I thought when this group first came out. But nonetheless, in terms of predictions, I think Argentina easily tops this group. Champions curse does not exist anymore. Mbappe proved that shit wrong last World Cup. But to follow Argentina, I will go with Algeria coming in at second. Um, I mean, it is a toss up between Algeria and Austria, but I do think Algeria will get the upper edge in this World Cup. And also, they are the more experienced team. The last time they were here was in 2014, whereas Austria haven't been here since like 1998, I believe. That being said, I do think Austria will take the number three spot, which means Jordan will unfortunately go out. They are Asian Cup finalists, but they lack the experience. And just in terms of like squad quality, I just don't think they have what it takes to really get anything within this group. All right, now on to the SUI group: Portugal, Colombia, Uzbekistan, and Cote d'Ivoire. Ronaldo at his last World Cup, seeing if he could win the big trophy after all. The way I see this group play out, Portugal, I think, will take the number one spot. Solid squad, and I think the best squad within this group. There might be a potential toss up with Colombia for number one, but I do think Portugal will win that game. That being said, I think Colombia will follow them in the group, which really leaves Uzbekistan and Cote d'Ivoire. Uzbekistan debutants to the World Cup, and Cote d'Ivoire haven't been to the World Cup since they were Zaire way back in 1974. I think high key it will be a contest between them for number three, and it will be a close match between them. But with that being said, I think Uzbekistan will get number three. I mean, just off of like players I know, like Uzbekistan has that guy at Man City. I forgot his name. They also have that guy at Roma. It's like Smoradov or something. Just based off of that, I think they squeeze themselves with a win over DR Congo. They could also tie them, but yeah, I think Portugal, Colombia easily secure the top two spots, and it's really a contest for 3 and 4 within this group. All right, to wrap the group stage up, we have Group L: England, Croatia, Panama, Ghana in our final group. Is it coming home? Probably not. But they will definitely make it out of the group stage. I see England easily topping the group here. They once again have a star studded squad. Let's see whether or not they choke it again. In terms of the group stages, I think they easily get a number one finish. To follow them, I will put Croatia. Third place last World Cup. And in terms of experience, I will put them above Ghana, especially experience within the World Cup. That being said, I think Ghana do follow Croatia in this group, which means Panama will once again exit this World Cup in the group stages like they did in 2018. I mean, high key, not much to explain here. Um, yeah, that wraps up the entire group stages. Now, on to the third place teams. All right, now we have the third place finishers. Predict the 8 best third place teams out of the 12. Now, a thing to note about this section, your place within the third place finishers, whether you're the best third place finisher or the eighth, that does not matter. The knockoff system is determined by this large ass table that decides the playoff bracket based on the groups from which the best third place finishers come from. The other thing to note is that when ranking these teams, you shouldn't look at the quality of the teams themselves, but rather the respective qualities of the teams within their groups. So what that means is that you are not comparing whether or not Germany is better than Austria within the third place section. You're really looking at whether or not you believe a team can get a good amount of points within a given group. All right, which third place teams do I believe will advance to the knockout round? Well, in order to do that, we have to see each individual team and their respective groups and sort of guesstimate how many points you think they will earn. Starting off with South Korea, they're in a very balanced group, so I don't really know how many points they will get in this group. So I will put that to the side for now. Moving on to Group B. Bosnia in this group, I think they get a win over Qatar, so that's at least 3 points. And I feel like they have a high chance of tying Canada, which means they have a chance to get up to 4 points, which I think is enough to have them advance to the knockout round. Scotland, I think they get a pretty easy win over there, over Haiti. So I think they have the ability to also advance to the knockout round with that win. Paraguay in this group, it's a very balanced group. So once again, it's not really clear how many points they can get over here. So we will move on to Ecuador, who, as I mentioned before, I think they will tie the Ivory Coast. So that's a point. Plus the fact that they will have, I believe, a great victory over Curacao with many goals against them, which means I believe they will probably finish on the higher end of the third place finishers. So I see them going through as well. Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia. Once again, this is a pretty balanced group. So I will also put this on the burner for now. Moving on to Group G, Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. I don't know if Iran will get the win over New Zealand. So once again, putting that on the burner just for now. Next up, Group H, Cabo Verde is in a group of Spain, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia. I said Cabo Verde may move on with a win against Saudi Arabia, but I doubt it. I think if they get third place, it's most likely through a tie with Saudi Arabia and a defeat with against Spain and Uruguay. So unfortunately, I don't think Cabo Verde will go through in terms of third place finishers. Following that, we have Group I, Senegal. I think they could secure a pretty easy win over Iraq, and they may even tie Norway. So I believe they will go through. Same thing here with Austria. I believe they could secure an easy win over Jordan and tie Algeria, and maybe even win against Algeria. Once again, Algeria and Austria are a toss-up. So I see Austria advancing in within the third place finishers. Final or not finally. Portugal, Colombia, Uzbekistan, and DR Congo. Uzbekistan, they may win over DR Congo, but most likely I see the two teams tying, and I see a defeat against Portugal and Colombia. So I don't think Uzbekistan will advance in terms of third place finishers. Next up, we have Group L. Ghana in a group of England, Croatia, and Panama. I think Ghana gets a pretty easy victory over here against Panama, so I see them going through as well. Now, finally, for the last two picks, I think I think Sweden is the most likely to get a win over Tunisia and secure themselves a place in the round of 32. And of the ones remaining, I already said Uzbekistan and Cabo Verde are probably going to get the third place with a tie. And then South Korea and Paraguay, again, too close to call. So I'm going to just say that Iran will possibly get the win over New Zealand and advance to the knockout stages. So those are the 8 teams I chose from the 12 third place finishers. All right, so we just got the boring stuff out of the way. Now we head into the juicy part of this video. Head-to-head knockouts in the round of 32. Here we're just saying which team we believe is better within a tie, and we start off with none other than Czech Republic versus Canada. I think it's a pretty even matchup. It may even go to penalties. I believe this game is going to happen in Inglewood, so Canada do lose their home advantage, but with my gut feeling, I think Canada still advances. After all, it is their tournament, and I believe they'll go further than the Czech Republic this time. Next up, Germany, Scotland. I think this is a pretty easy win for Germany. Germany by a mile to advance. Next up, 2 dark horses, Japan and Morocco. This game could really go either way, but this time I'm a back my Asian brothers to advance to the round of 16. Next up, Brazil versus Netherlands. A pretty decisive matchup already this early on in the knockout stages. And with Brazil's current form, I don't think they could beat the Netherlands. I'm going to take the Netherlands on this one. And I do think that Brazil will have a disappointing round of 32 exit. I don't think they've had this bad of a result since all the way back in the dinosaur era. Correct me if I'm wrong. Next up, we have France versus Sweden. In this tie, I don't think Gyökeres and gang can stop France's Avengers, so I have France advancing to the round of 16. Next up, Ivory Coast versus Norway. Once again, a pretty even matchup, but I will take Holland, Odegaard, and the Bodo Glimt dark horses in this tie. I think they have what it takes to push through here. Mexico, Ecuador, again, a pretty even tie, but Mexico are hosts. It is their tournament. I believe they will go through. Finally, we have England and Senegal for the first half of the round of 32. Will Senegal be able to take their revenge for 2022? I don't believe so. I think England have too good of a squad, and they will take out Senegal easily. Moving on to the second half of the round of 32, Turkey versus Bosnia. I think, honestly, this is a pretty easy decision for me. Turkey, with their golden generation, I believe, will take this match up easily. Next up, Belgium versus Austria. Now, Belgium aren't the golden generation they were a couple years ago, so Austria could pull up with an upset here, but I'm still going to back Belgium on this tie to advance. Next up, Colombia and Croatia. This is also a pretty close tie. Croatia, obviously, with the superior World Cup experience coming from a third place finish in 2022, whereas Colombia are Copa America 2024 runners up. In this tie, I am going to take Colombia to win it. I think Croatia, their squad is too old. They're an aging squad, and I believe Colombia has what it takes to advance. Next up, Spain versus Algeria. I think this is an easy Spain win, especially with their golden generation. Switzerland, Iran, once again, I think it's pretty easy victory for Switzerland. Yeah, I think they just have the superior squad here. And next up, we have the Rio Platense Derby, the oldest derby in South American football in the round of 32. Argentina versus Uruguay. I'm going to take Argentina, but this will be a close game. We've seen Uruguay beat Argentina recently in the World Cup qualifiers, so it really could go either way. But for my predictions, I'm going to say Argentina go through. Portugal, Ghana, a rematch of 2022. Will Ghana take revenge? I don't think so. I think Ronaldo and Portugal are too motivated to win the World Cup to let this tie go. And finally, the US of A versus Mo Salah in Egypt. I think the USA advances once again because it is their tournament, and I think they are the better team here. All right, on to the round of 16, and we're starting off really strong. Germany versus France, two European powerhouses. Germany, they weren't so good the last two World Cups, but I think they are much better this time around. However, I don't think they are good enough to beat the Avengers. This tie could go either way, but I think France's Avengers are too strong and can edge Germany in this tie. Next up, Canada versus Japan. Not a matchup you expect to see in the round of 16 of a World Cup. This time, I think that Japan will finally break its round of 16 curse. Japan in the past have made the round of 16 multiple times. However, they just can't seem to find a way past that. They were close in 2018 before they blew it in the last 10 minutes versus Belgium. But this time around, this year, I believe they could break through and advance to the quarterfinals finally. Next up, a matchup between Netherlands and Norway. Honestly, this matchup could go either way. We could see a Norway upset here. Once again, Norway has that Bodo Klimt dark horse energy within them. However, I do think the Netherlands will advance over here. In the next matchup, England versus Mexico, I do believe that we will say goodbye to our second host here. I think that England's squad is too strong, and they will defeat Mexico here and continue Mexico's round of 16 curse, unfortunately. All right, next up we have an interesting matchup between Colombia and Spain, the Hispanophone matchup. In this tie, I think Spain, with their golden generation, will be too much for Colombia, and I honestly think this could be a pretty easy victory for them. Next up, Turkey versus Belgium, and here is where I say a World Cup is not a World Cup without at least one dark horse story, without at least one upset, and I believe these are the circumstances for an upset. I think that Turkey will advance over the expected Belgium. Belgium, once again, they aren't their golden generation anymore. Turkey has their current golden generation, so I believe Turkey will upset Belgium and advance to the quarterfinals here. Next up, we have Argentina versus the host USA. Here is where I say goodbye to the final host. Unfortunately, all three hosts, I believe, will be knocked out in the round of 16. Argentina, I believe, is just way too much for the USA to handle. So I think they have a pretty easy way into the quarterfinals here. And finally, we have Portugal versus Switzerland, a rematch of 2022. Will Switzerland get their revenge? I don't believe so. I think Portugal have a really good squad, and I think they will be too motivated to lose to Switzerland this time around. All right, now on to the quarterfinals, and right over here on the right, what's catching my eye? Argentina versus Portugal in the Big 26. Are we dead ass? A Messi versus Ronaldo international matchup finally after Messi has already won the World Cup. Who would have expected this? I mean, if this matchup happens, you already know it's gonna be crazy. Viewership is gonna be through the roof, retention, all that. It's gonna be wild. I mean, Messi and Ronaldo are like 39 and 41 respectively, but who cares? They are Messi and Ronaldo. Uh, but yeah, enough glazing this matchup. Who do I think will win? It's gonna be close, but I think Argentina will push through here. Just my gut feeling. I feel like Argentina will be the better team here. I think their football will push through against Portugal. Once again, it really is my gut feeling. It could go either way. But yeah, once again, I think Argentina will go through. I'm a Messi fan after all. I think they will take the dub here. Next up, moving on to the left, England versus the Netherlands. the rematch of the Euro 2024 semifinal. Do I think Netherlands has what it takes to get revenge? Yes, I do. England are generational chokers, and I think it is here they choke against the Netherlands and get knocked out in the quarterfinals. Maybe it's another Kane missed pen, maybe it's penalty shootouts, but I believe the England curse will bite them here in the quarterfinals. On the other side, Spain versus Turkey, golden generation versus golden generation. Unfortunately, I think this is where Turkey's dark horse story ends. I think Spain's golden generation is way too strong for them. Once again, they are Euro winners, and I believe they are too powerful for Turkey over here. And on the very left, France versus Japan. Sorry, Japan, but I think the Avengers of France are too strong for you here. And yeah, those are the quarterfinals. We've reached the semifinals, and we have four stacked ass teams. I mean, I wish there were more dark horses that snuck their way into the semifinals, but I'm playing it safe, and I have four World Cup winner favorites here: France, Spain, Netherlands, Argentina. Who do I think will advance to the finals? Well, let's begin on the right. Netherlands versus Argentina, a rematch of the Battle of Lusail. Does the Netherlands have what it takes to take revenge on Argentina? Be close, but I think Argentina will take this tie once again. And on the left, we have a rematch of the Euro 2024 finals, France versus Spain. Who do I think will win? Will the Avengers push through and create a World Cup 2022 final rematch? No, because I don't want that to happen. That low-key be hella boring. So yes, I think Spain will advance. Lamine Yamal will cook France again. And we have our finalists here, Spain versus Argentina. The World Cup finals, according to my predictions, Spain versus Argentina. What a match this would be if it were to happen. Lamine Yamal versus Lionel Messi. Barca legend versus rising Barca star. Messi versus the kid he bathed about 17 years ago. The finalissima that never was. What an absolute cinema game this would be if it were to happen. But who do I think will win? Will Argentina repeat, and will Messi cement himself as the eternal GOAT? Or will Lamine Yamal win a World Cup at 17 and pull a Pele with Spain? I don't know if he'll be the youngest ever World Cup winner, but he's going to be close up there. Who do I think will win? I'm going to go with Spain. Congratulations, España. You are my predicted winners for the World Cup 2026. And I just realized I'm not niche at all. 24% of players also predicted Spain to win. So I quite literally chose one of the most mainstream answers there is to who is going to win the World Cup this year. But yeah, those are my predictions. All right, hope you guys enjoyed my predictions. All the predictions I made in this video is just based on my own opinion and my football ball knowledge. Nothing personal to any of the national teams that I knocked out early on in the tournament. I do hope that a lot of you guys that I did knock out early on do make a lot of dark horse runs. I love seeing dark horse runs. I know I played out this predictor thingy a bit safe. The semifinal lineup looked pretty standard, just four really stacked teams. I think a lot of people probably shared the semifinalists that I had. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you do, please leave a like, subscribe, the usual. And stay tuned for more videos. I have several of those lined up as well. So yeah, peace.